right now. Now, before I start my review, all I gotta say is, well, as it says on the screen here, my thoughts and prayers to Ryan Newman and his whole family. Because that was a scary, brutal crash that he took in the last lap of the 500. All I can say is, after the announcements here, all I say is Ryan Newman is lucky to even be alive. Extremely lucky. Because the way Newman got hit there by Corey LaJoie there, that's the type of crash that kills somebody or ends your career. One of the two. Like, Newman, it's, a miracle. I think this crash just shows not only how dangerous NASCAR is, but how far safety has come in the last couple decades. Like the last time a driver has died in a race was the 2001 Daytona 500 with Dale Sr. And all this safety shit that was implemented following that race, where they started installing safer barriers on the car, on the tracks. Mandating the full face helmets that we see today, and mandating the use of the Hans device. As safe as NASCAR's come in the last 2 decades or so, we are still reminded that it's still a very dangerous sport. Sometimes we just take the safety for granted. I gotta think, as much as critical as I am on NASCAR for the direction of where the sport's going, I will give them massive props for trying to make the sport safer, to try and save more lives, to prevent people from dying. Just a scary crash. It's the type of crash you never want to see fall at the end of a race. And I'll say this for the crash, nobody was at fault for it, Blaney didn't do anything wrong, he just hit Newman at the rear end on a bad angle. It was just hard racing gone wrong. Nobody was at fault. Corey LaJoie was not at fault either, He had literally no time to react. All we could do was just brake and hope for the best. Had nowhere to go. All we could do was just brake and hope for the best. But, of course, prayers for Newman, Of course, the update where because Newman's in serious condition, but his injuries are non-life-threatening, so, yeah. But he's going to have a very, very long road to recovery. I wish Newman the best. Wish Newman a speedy recovery. But, yeah. Anyway, let's get into the review. I'll try and review it the best I can. So, of course, the dual races, not much really happened except Daniel Suarez crashed. And Daniel Suarez did not make the 500. The dual winners ended up being Joey Logano and William Byron. Yay, Byron won a meaningless exhibition race. Yippee. Now win a real race, Byron. Of course, truck race, well, it's a truck race at Daytona. Probably not one of the better races, it was mainly a fucking freight train fest. Until the end, where it ended in a photo finish. Grant Enfinger? Yeah, Enfinger won in a photo finish, edging out Jordan Anderson by 100th of a second. A photo finish. And of course, in this truck race, the big talk, though, was who finished in the top 5. Because hell is officially frozen over. Natalie Decker got a top 5. It may be a fluke, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's give Natalie her moment. Let's give her 15 minutes of fame. So Natalie Decker isn't as talentless as we all thought she is. Okay, so maybe she has potential. Now, if Natalie Decker can stop wrecking all the goddamn time, maybe she can fucking do something in the sport. But we'll have to see. That's probably unlikely. We'll have to see, though. Anyway, continuing on Xfinity race, the Xfinity race was utter fucking shit. Freight trains out the ass, too. And for Xfinity, we can say why they're always freight training. Very simple. The no locking bumper rule. Why the fuck does this rule still fucking exist in Xfinity and trucks? Why is it still a thing? Hell, it's a rule NASCAR doesn't even enforce 95% of the time. They'll warn your drivers, but they won't penalize them when they keep doing it. Like, they never really enforce the rule. They'll say, oh, we'll penalize you if you lock bumpers. When they lock bumpers, nah, we'll do nothing, we'll let them race. Like, it's a rule they don't even enforce. Why the fuck is it still here? But yeah, it was just a boring-ass race, like, until the end. That was when the wrecks started happening and everyone started crashing out. And, of course, it was a crash on the last lap of the Xfinity race. And, of course, Gragson won after they threw the caution on the last lap. So, Gragson gets the win. I hate races that end under caution. Especially when you wait till they're coming off turn 4. Like, the crash happened on the back straightaway, nowhere near the leaders. At that point, I would have said let them race back to the line. But, oh well. So yeah, with that, Gragson gets his first career win. And also, by the way, with Enfinger winning the truck race, Enfinger's officially the first Truck Series driver to lock himself into the chase. So yeah, Enfinger, after he had that embarrassment in round 1 last year, where Enfinger became the first regular season champion under the chase grid format to be eliminated in the first round, Enfinger will have a shot at redemption. At least that's what he hopes. For Noah Gragson, he gets the honor of being the first Xfinity driver to lock himself into the chase. And so, I fear for this, because now this might make him a lock for the 48 car next year. And I do not want Gragson in that car. Gragson will fucking destroy whatever legacy the 48 has left. But yeah, anyway, now we get to the Cup race, the Daytona 500, the main event. Of course, Sunday, the pre-race had a big electric feel. The first race of the season after a long off season. Not only that, the acting president of the United States, Donald Trump, was in attendance for this race. So yeah, Donald Trump was in attendance to be the Grand Marshal for the race. He was even in his presidential limousine, and during the pace laps leading the field at Daytona. Whatever opinions they have on Trump, regardless of your opinions, you know what? It is still a great honor to have the current president of the United States appear for the biggest race of the season. You know what? In the end, though, it might be a desperate ploy for NASCAR to get ratings, but fuck it, let's just do it, because why the hell not? I mean, it's not often the president of the United States shows up to a NASCAR race out of nowhere. Plus, keep in mind, folks, this is 2020. This is an election year. And of course, then there was Donald Trump grabbing the radio and talking to all drivers, wishing them a safe race. So yeah, and yeah, if that didn't give you enough chills before the race, then maybe that will. And then of course, Mother Nature had to rain on their parade. Either Mother Nature or the libtard tears getting triggered over Donald Trump showing up to a race. Take your pick, folks. Yeah, rain came, so then they had to delay the start. When they got it going, they immediately went to a freight train after 6 laps. So yeah, waited 3 months all season for a freight train on lap 6. Wonderful. And then at lap 20, the rain came again. Race went red flagged. Just as they're about to dry the track, a monsoon of rain comes. NASCAR decides the wise choice is to postpone the race until 4 p.m. Monday. Good call, because the rain wasn't going to stop till 11 o'clock, and they would be restarting the race at midnight or 1 a.m. when no one would be watching. I mean, this isn't the Rolex 24 hours of Daytona. I don't think I would have had enough energy anyway. But anyway, let's move on. So now to Monday, President's Day. So for the race restarts at 4 a.m. after 20 laps. Stage 1 and 2 were complete freight train fests. Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin win their stages respectively. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. also became Ricky Stenhouse when he wrecked William Byron. as Ricky Stenhouse's reign of wrecking drivers bullshit continues, claiming another victim. Stage 3, the first 30 laps, would see 2 and 3 wide racing, before going back to a freight train. But then a miracle happened. Ricky Stenhouse, for his act of arrogance, the racing gods have given him a glorious taste of karma. First off, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. gets completely fucked over by the double yellow line rule, when he was penalized for going below it when he was actually forced down there. But NASCAR says, but the gods say, nope, you're getting karma for dumping Byron. So Ricky had to serve the penalty. Despite his plea, NASCAR was not listening. They're like, nope, you're getting penalized for wrecking Byron. Get your ass down pit road. Ricky serves his penalty. 10 laps later, while at a field was under green flag pit stops to make it to the end, Ricky Stenhouse spins himself and crashes and hits the wall. No caution comes out because he spun on the pit road. He was somehow able to get the car fixed within 6 minutes. We continue on. Then 20 laps to go. Kyle Busch gets a glorious taste of karma too for how many times he's been a douchebag, as his engine quits on him, and he's forced to blow it up. And of course, a lap later, the big one would then strike. From Joey Logano's aggressiveness, where he pushed Almirola right into his teammate Keselowski. Keselowski gets turned, and almost 20 cars wreck. One of them was Jimmy Johnson in his last Daytona 500 attempt. Fuck my life. Honestly, though, I wouldn't put much of that on Logano. I think there could have been oil on the track from Kyle Busch that could have caused that. I'd say 50-50. Logano was a bit too aggressive, and yeah, that was gonna wreck. But that wreck would cause a complete shit show. A couple laps later, Stenhouse and Timmy Hill wreck. A day after Timmy Hill also shocked everybody by getting a third-place finish in the Xfinity race. Poor bastard, he had that luck and then couldn't catch a break. And then a few laps later, Joey Logano and Ryan Preece would force Ross Chastain below the yellow line. Chastain would then spin out and crash right into Logano and Preece and take the field out. So the racing gods also punished Joey Logano for his arrogant driving. And wrecked him too. Karma. It's a wonderful thing, isn't it, folks? And honestly, so let's put this straight. NASCAR will penalize Stenhouse for getting forced below the yellow line, but they won't penalize Chastain for it. I mean, no, even if they were going to penalize them, they couldn't because Chastain crashed anyway. So NASCAR couldn't really penalize Chastain if they wanted to. So then after that, NASCAR decided that God said we need more NASCAR for Daytona. Overtime was needed for this race. Attempt 1 of overtime, we saw a crash coming right off the start-finish line between Quint Boyer and McDowell and a couple others. So the gods demanded more. They wanted more. They want NASCAR to make up for that shit they made Trump go through. Because that was utter embarrassment yesterday. Especially with the President of the United States in attendance. So the race goes to double overtime. We go to the last lap. The big controversy was, should have NASCAR thrown the caution after Chase Elliott spun on the last lap? But NASCAR made a wise choice. The choice they thought was the good call at that point. To let them race back to the line. Because at that point, you made the fans wait that long for the conclusion of the 500. The best you could do was give them a white flag finish. So then, on the last lap, Ryan Newman gets a glorious charge to the front from Ryan Blaney. It looked like Newman was going to piss a lot of fans off and win his second 500. And shock everybody and ruin a lot of predictions. But then, Blaney had a miracle. He got a quick push from Denny Hamlin, as Hamlin was looking to win back-to-back 500s. Blaney would make a charge. Newman would block high. He would block low. When Blaney said, fuck it, I'll push you to the win, Blaney then hits Newman in an awkward angle, and then the shitstorm really began. Where Newman got turned, Blaney and Hamlin battle to the line. Hamlin edges Blaney out by 100th of a second. There may have been controversy, though, if NASCAR threw the caution on the last lap or not, and that would have fucked Blaney out of a win. But it doesn't really matter who fucking wins at this point. Because of this situation, everybody loses after Newman's scary crash. At this point, we can all pray for Ryan Newman. And I mean, the fans did boo Denny Hamlin because he did initially celebrate after winning the race. Because nobody at Joe Gibbs knew how severe Newman's crash really was. Until they found out in victory lane and then both apologized. I mean, I don't fault Hamlin. I didn't know how bad the crash was until after I saw the replay, and I was like, fuck, that was brutal. I mean, there was also Michael Waltrip who celebrated his 2001 Daytona 500 win because after Dale Sr.'s fatal crash, because he didn't know how bad Dale Sr. was hurt after that crash until a few hours after the race. So yeah, of course, Ryan Newman, he went upside down, engulfed in flames. There was fuel leaking out of his car. EMTs were right there on the scene to assist. They had to turn the car up and over. They had to cut Ryan Newman free because he was unresponsive at first. They also put black tarps around the car, and usually whenever they do that, that means a serious injury or a fatality has occurred. They performed CPR on Newman and then loaded him into the ambulance. They rushed him to Halifax Medical Center, which was like a couple miles from the speedway. And of course, a couple hours or so ago, we got the best news of all. Ryan Newman will live another day. As he's still in serious condition, but his injuries are non-life-threatening. He should be able to make a recovery. But yeah, the Daytona 500, it wasn't looking that good. It was looking more like a terrible race. And really, the finish was just scary. At first, like I said before, I legit thought Newman died. Because with that crash, that looks like a crash that kills somebody. But like I said, we see how safe this sport is. But the one thing is, though, NASCAR is more than likely going to make a lot of safety changes and regulations coming up with this crash. Because it seems the only time NASCAR ever makes any safety changes is when either A, somebody dies, or B, someone gets severely injured. Yep, and this also shows that the Gen 6 has really been one of the more unsafest cars in recent memory. Because now that's the fourth major injury this car has produced in the 7-8 seasons it's been around. And to keep this in perspective, the only major injury the Gen 5 ever produced was Dale Jr.'s concussion in 2012. And now with this, though, now the safety of the Gen 7 car that's coming next season, a lot of people are going to question the safety of that car because everyone's like, can this car stop a crash like Newman's and prevent something like that? It's tough to say. This also proves that NASCAR is still the most dangerous sport in the world, period. No other sport is as dangerous as NASCAR. Change my fucking mind, folks. But yeah, I mean, not much to say about this race. I debate about even doing this review. Just the Newman thing was scary to watch. Brutal fucking crash. All I say is, though, I think this crash might end Newman's career. That's because, like I said before, that's the type of crash that ends a career. Obviously, praying for the best for Newman. Hope he pulls through. Hope he has a speedy recovery. He's got a long recovery process ahead of him for sure. It's the type of crash we never want to see happen. Period. It's just that scary super speedway crash that nobody wants to see. Like, at this point, you could wrap the drivers in bubble wrap, and a crash like that would still happen. Like, hell, well, easily this crash was the scariest crash we've seen in NASCAR since the July race at Daytona in 2015 when Austin Dillon's car flew in the catch fence. But, yeah, you know, just a scary and sad way to start the season like that. Fuck. Just scary to have the season start like that. You never want to see a season start like that, though. Fuck. Of course, next week, though, is the start of the West Coast swing with Las Vegas. So, we'll see you all there. But at this point, let's just keep praying for Ryan Newman and hope he keeps pulling through. And also, please respect his family's privacy at this time. Like, fuck me. Newman's gone through a lot. Like, earlier this week, Ryan Newman had the divorce with his wife, Christy, after 16 years. And now this shit. Poor Newman. And Newman has always never been a fan of racing at Daytona or Talladega. And usually when crashes like these, Newman's always gotten the short end of the stick. And in this one, he really got the shitty end of the stick here. But fuck. Just a sad crash. I'm praying for Newman, of course, like everybody else. You know what? Let's just, respect the privacy. Keep praying for Newman, and yeah. That's all I gotta say for this race and this review. But yeah. Hope everyone's a great day, and yeah. Peace out and pray for Newman.